Hello, and welcome back to First Impressions. This is a show where my co host Dash Hooper and I evaluate a brand new album each week with a few
Yeah.
simple ground rules. First, has to be an album we've never heard before. Second, we're only allowed to play it once. After that, we take notes, rate it in a variety of categories. And tonight, the album we're going to be looking at is Holy Water, the 1990 album by newly inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Bad Company. So, Dash,
Nice.
how is it going tonight?
Oh, I'm back in high school, man. Like I said, this brought back memories, especially the style of music. Uh, but this is the very first time I've heard the entire album.
Okay.
I knew a few of the songs just from the radio, but
Mhm.
never heard the entire album until this time. And so, yeah, I'm ready to talk about it.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I heard any songs from this album before you suggested it. So, yes, for those who don't know, we got to bring it back up. There is a coffee bet tonight. Starbucks is on the line because
Yeah.
Dash was confident in the fact that I would like this album. And knowing me, I mean, that's a bold statement because I've shit on a lot of stuff that he likes. So,
Yeah.
he said, no, I feel good. I feel confident. This is going to be in your wheelhouse and you're going to enjoy it. And now I'll have to say it's the most 80s, 90s album that's ever been created. This album belonged in like 1986, but it's
Yeah,
also kind of
definitely.
the end of the 80s. We're at this tail end. We're a year away from grunge and the death of all of these albums. It's kind
Yeah.
of when all of it's going to fade away. But yeah, it's the very 80th of albums. But once we go, you'll know if your coffee's coming when we talk about my overall thoughts. So you'll know,
Yeah.
am I gonna unleash on this, or am I gonna find my inner child and enjoy it? So we'll see.
No, normally, ladies and gentlemen, we have our chats backstage, but we for tonight we kept it to find out during the actual stream here. So I
Yeah.
I, I I'm ready for my coffee. That's how confident I am. I have been thinking about this coffee all day, so I'm
Yes.
confident.
So Dash thirsts for coffee, and yeah, we will see. We will see if coffee is coming his way. I mean, granted, we got to mail it across the country, so it won't be the fastest coffee. You can enjoy it if you get it next week, or I
Right?
can enjoy it next week. But is there coffee in the future? Is Bad Company gonna give a coffee? We'll see. So, like always, we're gonna start with a little history of the artist. And I honestly, like I said, I didn't know much about Bad Company. I couldn't, you can't say you don't know Bad Company because there had to have been one of their songs that crept into your, your listening ears at least one point in time,
Right?
because they have been around since 1973. So that's actually the year before I was born. And they were formed by musicians from several major bands. So it's kind of a super group from the 1970s. And first one was Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke. Paul Rogers on vocals, Simon Kirke on drums. And they came from the band Free, which wrote the song. You may not say, who's Free? They wrote that song All Right Now. Okay, they're like, all right, I know them. Everyone knows that song. So we know
Yep.
them. Then they were also joined by Mick Ralphs on guitar, who left Mott and the Hoople. Again, who the hell are they? All the young dudes.
Yeah.
Again, you know that song. You may not know Mott and the Hoople. I sure as hell didn't. But when I hear all the young dudes, I was like, oh, yeah, that's that song I always thought was a David
Yeah.
Bowie song, but wasn't, because it was written by David Bowie and he gave it to them. And then rounded out by Boz Burrell on bass, who was in King Crimson. So, all major bands of the 70s that, you can't help but know. They were one of the very first bands ever signed to Led Zeppelin's Swan Song Records, because the members of Bad Company knew Peter Grant, who was Led Zeppelin's manager and then became their manager. And they
Yep.
released their first album in 1974. That's the year I was born. And it had Can't Get Enough, Moving On, and then Bad Company. They started it. Before Lady Gaga said her own name a million times in her music, Bad Company did it. They're like, all right, we're going to sing We're called Bad Company. And yes, we will have a song called Bad Company, kind of like then Big Country, then Lady Gaga. She loves to just say Gaga in her songs randomly, like, you know who I am. This is not Taylor Swift. I'm Gaga. So Bad Company started it. I'm calling them the originators. Now, someone, you can tell me if I'm wrong. They may not be the originators. Did someone else say their own name in one of the songs? Again, I don't know. This is asking my audience for help because I don't want to put wrong facts out there. That's been known to get me in trouble. So, are they the number one band to spew their own name in a song about themselves? Like, all right, Bad Company, that's us. We're writing a song about us. Before Big Country, before Lady Gaga, were they the first, or did someone in the 50s do it? I know Chubby Checkers talks about himself in his song sometimes, but I don't know if he like actually wrote a song where he's calling himself. I think so. So now, 1975 to 1979, that was when they were huge. That was their peak success, and they had Feel Like Making Love from their album Straight Shooter in 1975, Shooting Star, both songs I know, both kind of classic rock staples. They are definitely going in that butt rock category because they would have been played on all those stations that play nothing but rock.
Nothing but rock.
So they are true butt rock originators, and we discovered it's not an insult. It's just how the radio stations introduced them, but they would definitely have been on that. Those songs would have been played a lot on those old nothing but rock stations. Running with the Pack, they had songs Silver, Blue, and Gold. Now that one I don't know offhand. Maybe if I heard it I would know it, but that was when they were huge in the US. They were huge in the UK. They were playing baseball. They were playing baseball, football stadiums. They were playing arenas. They were headlining, and at that point, things were strong. But then the 80s happened, and 70s rock kind of fell off for a little bit. So they broke up in 1982, and Paul Rodgers left the band. Then in 1986, they reformed, and that's the version that we're going to hear now. The version of Bad Company was the version without Paul Rodgers, and now Brian Howe, who played with Ted Nugent, comes in, and he's the singer from 86 to 1998. So they bring Bad Company back. They made 3 albums with this version of the band: Fame and Fortune in 1986, Dangerous Age in 1988 with the hit No Smoke Without Fire. I don't know it, but
that's a good one.
It might have, honestly, it might be one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know it. Okay, yeah, so I know it. I just didn't know I knew it. And then Holy Water, that's the album we're listening to. If You Needed Somebody was one of the big hits, and we're going to talk more about the album, of course, when we dig into it. So I won't spend any time talking about Holy Water till we dig into the album itself. And then they fired their singer again, and Brian Howe is dumped and replaced by Robert Hart, who's then dumped and replaced by a reunion version where they brought Rodgers back. And that's what's been going on from 1999 to currently. Like, you can probably find one of those like Kings of Rock tours, and they'd be, featuring Bad Company and Foreigner and, all those other bands that I always mix up which one is which. But Bad Company, they say their name in the song, so it makes it easy. I'm like, that's Bad Company. It's not Foreigner. I know.
It's definitely not Foreigner.
Yes. So they still tour. They have the backing members of the band have switched out, as it happens with bands from that era. You get some that are just like, I don't need to tour. Mick Ralphs was one of them. He just didn't want to continue touring. But Paul Rodgers still goes out there, still performs with the band. So yeah, that version of Bad Company is going. And Paul Rodgers even did sing for Queen for a stretch of time. Yeah. Uncle Swifty was telling me he went to that show and was not highly impressed. And I can imagine, because who the hell wants to fill Freddie Mercury's shoes? I mean, that is a thankless task. If you're like, here, let me go sing some Freddie Mercury songs, and I'm not Freddie Mercury. It's like, those songs are truly going to steamroll you, because there's only one Freddie Mercury, and he's not him. So yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, I don't even want to say anything negative about him. It's just, you know, Freddie Mercury is Freddie Mercury. Paul
Yeah,
Rogers,
it's
his voice, it's not on that same level. I mean, he doesn't have the same range
no,
of
he
vocals. I mean,
fits.
he's got a more gritty rock voice.
Yeah, he fits. He fits with Bad Company,
Yeah.
and that's where. Yeah, he doesn't fit with anybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
But I
Bad
think
Company
that
is
it's the
fine.
Rogers. Yeah, I think the Rogers version is the well. I mean, Bad Company, but I think it's going to be. I think Rogers was there with them when they got inducted, and not. I don't think Brian or Hal was.
Okay, so
right.
Hal's not there. It
'Cause
sounds curious. Like when they got inducted, who do they bring, or do they bring them both? Because
Right.
like Kiss was like, we're bringing every person who
Yeah.
ever played with our band, and then fucking Gene Simmons, that asshole, he yells at Nirvana, who was going to bring their first drummer in, and they're like, no, you can't start bringing in other members because they wouldn't let us bring in other members. I'm like, dude, he played as much material as Dave Grohl did, but
Grohl
he didn't
did,
bother
yeah.
researching. He just got all pissy. Like, just go cry in your billions, man, you asshole. But yeah, there we go. We'll add Gene Simmons to our hierarchy of horrible human beings. We already have Morrissey. He's the king. He's still on top.
Morrissey's on top.
Yeah, Morrissey, and then, you know, Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. We got them. They're like, we're creating our trilogy of jerks, and then, you know, Billy Corgan gets to fit in there as well. But
yeah, for real.
But I think Gene Simmons gets worse billing than Billy Corgan. He gets to go right below Morrissey because he got Nirvana's original drummer kicked out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though he recorded Bleach, and then the songs from Incesticide were also primarily his. And you're talking a band that released 4 albums. So when half the content's one drummer, even if he's not the greatest drummer, who cares? It's, you know, Nirvana was going for that more punk sound. But, you know, here we go. Tangents, apologies, but that's how we roll. And Gene Simmons now has joined our list of the 4. So if you're a fan of Kiss and a fan of Gene Simmons, I don't apologize. You can like the band and know that he's a jerk. That's where I live with Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, we need
love the band, but I don't need to love him.
Yeah, we need somebody out there in TV land there to make us a nice like tree, like our big jerk tree, and have that ready for us.
Yes, that's what we need. The jerks of Rock Tree. And I'm sure there's a lot more that we just don't know about where like Gene Simmons goes out of his way to be the top. He really wants to dethrone Morrissey, and he gets close.
It's possible he might. He's still around, so it's possible.
I think right now it's like they're battling for first. It's a close race, and every time Gene Simmons opens his mouth, he's like, ooh, damn. But then Morrissey opens his mouth and cancels a concert because he's cold and makes me stand outside till 10 at night because he doesn't want us to try to sneak into his show. So Morrissey still wins. He's still the king because I haven't actually been directly hurt by any of Gene Simmons's assholery, if that's a word. It is now. We're adding it to the dictionary. But all right, I've gone off. I'm going to go back where we belong, and that is history of this album. The one, honestly, I didn't know it existed. I didn't know Bad Company recorded 80s material, and even when I listened to it, I didn't know these songs. So it was one of those things where I knew them from the 70s. I mean, they were a huge 70s band that, you know, if you know 70s butt rock stations, you're going to have heard some, if not a lot, of Bad Company. I know my dad had some of their albums as well. So they were definitely a band that I knew of, that was on my radar. But in the 80s, when they had thrown out Paul Rogers, or he quit, whichever story you believe, and I did very shallow digging. So if he was kicked out.
Probably a little bit of truth on both sides.
I guess so, yeah. And it's just kind of safe face. So Paul Rogers is gone. He left in 1982. Brian Howe is there, and they decided to go for a different sound. They weren't going for that kind of gritty 70s rock vibe anymore. They were going for that slick, polished arena rock of the 80s with big choruses, glossy production, radio-friendly power ballads. I mean, I'm listening to this album, and as I'm listening to it, I'm like, every one of these songs could have been in a random scene of an 80s movie and fit right in. It's like they just seemed like, oh, that would be the love scene. That would be the other scene. So, yes. So they didn't have huge success with their first albums, but this one was the big one. So they recorded it between 89 and 90, just before grunge was about to stab all of these artists in the heart. And it was released in 1990, and it was produced by Tony Harris, who worked with Queen and Yes, and Andy Johns, who was the engineer of the album, who had worked with Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones. And they helped them create kind of those big anthemic choruses and keyboards and layered production, but not synth heavy. At least there's that, because that's one thing about 80s rock that is just not my thing, is when it's overpowered with the synth. So I'm glad it's not that. And then you have Brian Howe's powerful vocals. And yeah, I mean, he's a good singer. You can love or hate the album, but you're going to know that he's a good singer. You're not going to fight that. And it was, less on the bluesy, gritty sound that they started with. And, definitely going with more of that 80s vibe and 80s feel. It did sell well. Over 1 million copies sold, so it went platinum. It hit number 35 on the Hot Billboard 200. I'm guessing if you go do some digging, you'll find Casey Kasem talking about some of these songs, because they had to have hit his charts, and had multiple hit singles on pop radio. They got played on MTV. I watched that video. 80s videos do not age well. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
so,
if you needed somebody, it's definitely 80s. Oh my goodness, it's 80s.
Yeah, it's one of those painfully bad 80s videos. So yeah, it brought them back into the spotlight. They, after the 70s, it looked like they had kind of just disappeared into irrelevance, but they managed to get back, sell another 1 million copies, and then do nothing afterward. This was their final album. And like I said, before you suggested this one, I didn't even know Bad Company had 90s material, or even late 80s. I just always think of them as the 70s version, which is, I guess that would be the version that would tour, and that would be the version that you would hear the most from. But yeah, I mean, they went out, sold 1 million copies, made a painfully bad 80s video, but so did all the 80s bands. I mean, unless you're Michael Jackson making movies 80s with movie up in that early 80s MTV.
Yeah, 80s videos are like yacht rock. They're so bad they're good. They're so bad they're good. Ain't that right, Miss Davis? 80s videos and yacht rock are primo.
Yeah, well, that is an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, that the 80s videos would not have got you any Starbucks. No, but so let's take a look at the reviews. And like any album that's not current, reviews are a pain to find. Yeah, this one was especially bad because it didn't even get covered by Rolling Stone. So it was really hard to find reviews. But what I found was there were negative, there were positive. It kind of fell in the middle. I'm guessing if it was given, the Metacritic treatment, it probably would fall in like the 75 to 80, which seems to be where so many of the albums we cover actually fall. There's one that I'm hoping to cover later that's actually like a 92 on Metacritic. Okay, that's a rarity. I mean, and then there's ones like Stevie Wonder that it would be 100 on Metacritic, but that would be a lie, because we know in the beginning it got not all glowing positive reviews. So yeah, it's tricky. Even Marvin Gaye last week, when we were talking about him, the reviews were not glowing in the beginning. There were glowing reviews, but there were also those mixed ones. So Metacritic, if you find any of those older albums, even one like this, you would have it would be harder to do it, because a lot of times we're going to get it redone and re-looked at. But this one doesn't seem like it's got a second look. It's one of those ones that at its time it got decent reviews, got some negative, some positive. And the positive reviews, they said it was well crafted, arena rock ready, Brian Howe's vocals were powerful and radio friendly, and that it was a surprising revival for Bad Company after a poor run in the 80s. And then it got let's see, they said the ones who complained said it was too much of a departure from the Paul Rogers era Bad Company. And I can see that we've talked about the purist from day one. You get those,
purists.
Well, well, yeah, this isn't like the good stuff that I like. And with Bad Company, it's even huger, because the original Bad Company stuff it's night and day in its differences, but it's also 20 years separated. So you're not going to sound exactly like you did in the 70s when you're putting stuff out in 1990.
Right.
But the purists would be like, I don't like that guy. He's too polished. I want Paul Rogers back. And yeah, I mean, you're going to get that. We had that when we did Blue Oyster Cult. When I was reading the negative reviews, it was, this is too slick. I want their more experimental stuff. And there's always going to be those Jethro Tull. Same thing. When we were doing the Jethro Tull album, they wanted the grittier, angrier Ian Anderson, and you're never going to please the purists. That it comes down to that. And I find myself in that same thing where it's like, okay, this album just came out and I'm going to, grumble at it. So there he is. We were talking about it earlier. Uncle Swifty. We were saying Swifty. We were talking about it. I said, telling Dash how you had said you went to that concert and that it was not good. And yeah, love Paul Rogers or not love Paul Rogers, he is not Freddie Mercury, should not be attempting to be Freddie Mercury. That is a rough one. So yeah, I would have to say don't listen to Paul Rogers' Queen. I've never heard it, but I can say it's going to be bad. Yeah. Without much worry, I can say that that's not going to have been something you wanted to hear. They have it now. Oh, what is the guy's name from American Idol who sings with Queen? He's a better.
Adam Lambert.
There you go. He's a much better fit to try to do Freddie Mercury than Paul Rogers, especially.
Definitely.
So, yeah, that's not great. So, yeah, Rolling Stone did not cover it. They didn't give it any coverage. They just mentioned it as faceless rock album, as another faceless rock album of the time that was formulaic. So, yeah, but Rolling Stone would have given it 4 stars if they bothered, because that's all they ever give. So, you know that. And then they said it was some critics said it was overly produced and it stripped away any edge and spontaneity. And yeah, this album is edgeless. It is not an album with edge. You don't listen to this album and be like, ooh, that is they're experimental, they're dangerous. This is not Sonic Youth. You're not going to find yourself surprised by anything, but does that mean it's bad? No. I mean, it's hard when you're rewriting history with, a new band and a new singer. It's not like AC/DC where their singer died and what choice do you have? You have your other singer over there singing for Queen, and not successfully. If Uncle Swifty is anyone to be believed, and I'm going to trust, in general, I'm going to trust his critic reviews, even though he loves Taylor Swift more than any of us. But that's just him. So you can buy. Oh, there's an album. Oh no, I don't want that. Although I guess if you want, there's a Queen with him album, because late era
Return of the Champions.
Oh damn, it exists.
Return of the Queen. Paul, Queen and Paul Rogers, Return of the Champions. That's one of the ones I looked up, and then there's the Cosmos Rocks. So we need to put Return of the Champions on the list.
Oh, that might be so brutal that it could just be so fun. We can. Yeah, I think I could have a good time, because honestly, we need. Late era Queen is bad enough without Freddie Mercury. Late era Queen hit some pretty significant lows, and late era Queen with Paul Rogers, that might be the lowest of the lows. But honestly, if they're singing their own thing, it could be okay. I don't want to hear him trying to sing Bohemian Rhapsody or something. I think that would be the scarier thing. Him trying to sing one of those, nostalgic vintage Queen songs. I just hear that in my head, and yeah, I don't know. We're pretty full for the next week. We just kind of mapped out our next 8 shows, so we're full till July, but it can be in there. And yes, Uncle Swifty, what the hell's the album you want me to review? You've said it, I know, but you put it in the chat right now and it will live, and I will remember it past this hour because it'll live there. So, he did sing the Freddie Mercury song. Rough. But yeah, I wasn't there. I'm thankful for that. So I'll just, be happy I didn't, waste my time with that one. I never got to see Freddie Mercury, but I certainly wouldn't have wanted to see Paul Rogers' Queen. I'll just skip Queen if that's my choice. All right, so now let's see. We have talked about all of the things. Let's hit our last category before Dash discovers if he's getting coffee or not. What is your history with Bad Company?
Listen, just like you said, I was born in the 70s, so I grew up with Bad Company all the way up till, like you said, 82. We got, like you said, that was edgy rock for them. So I loved it. And now they are butt rock, nothing but rock. But again, smoke or, there's no smoke without a fire in the 80s. Oh, I love that. That's a song that you need to hear. And now I love now I'm probably definitely in the minority when it comes to loving the 80s Bad Company. I know they got a lot of, as you heard the reviews, but I did like especially when we're going to talk about it here in a minute, but I like the edge. I like you're going to turn on Supernatural and you're going to hear Bad Company. You're going to hear that old classic rock, or you're going to turn on the classic rock station. And again, my brother, a lot of these 70s bands was because of my brother. So Bad Company, Deep Purple, all those guys, that was what I grew up on. So when it came to this album and the 80s, I was starting to hit my country stride.
Okay.
So a lot of these I didn't hear, but I did like a lot of the 80s Bad Company. But we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But that's my history. I love them. I'm so glad they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's well deserved. They are a staple on any classic rock that you listen to. So that's my history.
Yeah, mine a lot less. I mean, honestly, I know a lot of their 70s material. I know it well. I those songs are just staples of the classic rock. They're right. Kind of what the butt rock stations were built on was songs like those. So I know them. I recognize them. I can probably sing along with the majority of them because I've heard them so much, even though I don't own any of those albums. They're just songs that they're just in your head. And right. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed those ones. Like I said before, before this, I did not know that there was 80s and 90s Bad Company material. I was in the absolute thought that they disappeared in the 70s and that was the end of them. So yeah, interestingly, new singer, and they came back out and did their thing. So yes, now we're gonna hit the category to see who's getting the coffee.
Everybody cheer for me. Everybody cheer for me. Everybody cheer for me.
Don't you want me to get angry at an album? Isn't that more fun?
Not until we get to.
I know if Ray is out there, he's rooting for me to get really angry with an album, and he'll try to poke the bear like, ooh, let me throw some bad music his way and see if I can get him to react. So overall thoughts. I will go first this time. Normally I will go first, but since there's so much on the line, I will say this was surprisingly decent. I walked into this expecting to hate it. I was like, all right, Joe Walsh 2.0, let's go. And what did I find? a listenable 80s arena rock album. It's definitely of its time, but it's of its time without having to slap you in the face with its neon parachute pants. It's not throwing the synths at you. It's not like, all right, Bad Company synth rock version. No, it lives alongside all the bands from the 80s like Def Leppard, Van Halen, Motley Crue, Kenny Loggins. And I enjoyed those in the 80s. Those are bands I liked because, when you're 9 and 10 years old, you're not like, no, I'm an indie rock guy. No, there's no freaking indie rock guys when they're 10. I listened to what was on the radio. That's what was on the radio, and this would have fit right in, and I would have been perfectly happy to be, kind of bobbing my head to it when I was younger. And yeah, I do have criticisms, of course. I feel a bit overlong. I think it would have done with about 3 songs of trimming to tighten it up, but it had enough highs to make it a worthy addition to their catalog that I didn't know would need to exist. So it's kind of, I was surprised and was like, all right, as soon as track 1 started, I was thinking, it would appear that Dash will be getting coffee, because I was ready. I'm like, all right, I'm primed, but I can't just go off and like, all right, I'm just going to prime myself to hate it. But I was thinking, there's no way this can actually be good. And then there was. I'm like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
It passed the Dash test for me. Was I bobbing my head along with it? I was. Was I enjoying it for what it was? Sure. Like I said, it didn't feel 90s to me. And to think that this is 1 year before, everything breaks. And during this time, Sonic Youth was recording some crazy ass shit. And, my brain at that time wouldn't have been able to process Sonic Youth. I would have processed Bad Company. I had to come into Sonic Youth later, when you're just like, all right, now I've explored the strange and the unique. And I love Sonic Youth, and wish Thurston wouldn't have cheated on his damn wife and ruined the band. But
his band,
that's the story for another day. But Dash will be receiving his Starbucks gift card in the mail. He was correct. And I thought, no way. No, it's not going to work. But listeners, don't fret. I got some shit to say still.
I do too. Listen,
it's not all nice, but it is overall just, it's a very listenable album. And it did pass the run test. So
you're good.
I took it out. I'm like, it's got enough. Yeah, I had to skip a few songs. Sweaty Hand skipped songs because I'm like, I do not need to run to an 80s power ballad. This is not going to get my tempo going. But most of the songs had that kind of just enough beat to keep you moving. And that's all I asked for with running music. I mean, one of the best running albums was the Lady Gaga album. Am I going to be revisiting it often? Probably not, but it worked as a running album. So it's a whole different way of categorizing it. And then you have ones that would absolutely fail, even if we love them. Soccer Mommy's not going to give me a good running album vibe. Love the album. It did not pass the run test. But this one definitely passed the run test. Kind of the bob. If Dash can be bobbing his head, then I can be getting out there and putting in the miles, and it passed. I'm sure both tests. I'm sure Dash gave it the run test. So we're gonna start it off with the best songs. So let me go first.
Let me give my overall thoughts real quick.
All right. Oh, you're right. I am so sorry. Let me go back. I'm used to you going first. So when I finished, I'm like, no, but we had to settle the coffee bet once and for all. So, Zip, it's your turn.
So listen, this is where you put on your Guess jeans, your Izod, you spike your hair up, you get your sunglasses on. This is 80s all the way. I know it said 1990, but you can tell that a lot of these songs are written in the 80s. A lot of the tunes and how they put them together was 80s, but my goodness, when you said there was no edge, there really is no edge. This was a very safe album to get them on the radio, like you said. This was a safe album, and I'm okay with that for this album. I really am okay with that because I felt like the songs, and I agree with you, it is long, but I felt like the songs that were in there, the ones that I did like, were enough to really make it a decent album where I'm literally dancing in the middle. I'm glad my daughters went out with their grandmother today because I was literally dancing in the middle of the house here because you're head banging. It's a head bopping. And this has one of the best. I know what, we'll talk about we'll talk about the video, but this still has one of the best ballads I've ever heard in my life. If You Needed Somebody, I just love that song. It's always on my video playlist. It's always on my song playlist because that is just one of the best power ballads that Holy Water hit number one. The actual song Holy Water hit number one on the charts. I still think If You Needed Somebody is a better song. I think that should have hit number one on the charts. And we'll talk more about that in best songs. But overall, if you love the 80s, if you love just reminiscing and remembering if you were in high school or junior high or whatever, this is an album to do that. And you're going to be in the 80s. Some of these songs would not stand the test of time now, but If You Needed Somebody does. I think you could play it now, change it up to have the 2020s vibe to it a little bit. I think it's still a good song. but it would still last and still play just as good in the 2025 now as it did in 1990. But yeah, I loved. This was a great album. It's not like, again, I'm right there with probably 80, 85 on a grade scale for this album. I think that's probably right where the critics got it, and I can see the change. You know, we again 70s Bad Company is Rogers, so that's a whole different band to me, and this is this is a different band, but I loved it. And I think I'm like I said at the beginning, I'm in the minority when it comes to the 80s Bad Company. It's don't get me wrong, it's not Rogers Bad Company, but it's still good Bad Company. And I'd rather have good Bad Company and have no Bad Company at all. That's, as the old saying goes.
There you go.
But I can see the criticism in some of the changes, and I can definitely agree with you that this album is about 3 songs too long. I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that's when it started feeling its length, and the 20 minutes, they could be 80 minutes, and you're just like, damn, you don't even realize how much time passed.
Yep.
This one, I started looking at the watch, like, this is 53 minutes. How much more do we have of this?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that okay, could have dealt with a little bit of trimming, but
right.
Yeah, let's now for real this time. Let's dig into the best song. So, what's one that stood out to you?
Okay, as like I said,
we talked about one already. Yeah.
We if you needed somebody, is the best song on the album. Holy Water's good, but I liked Walk Through Fire. I liked Stranger Stranger. I thought those were two. That first side of the album is great. I think it goes right into if you needed somebody, and I think it flips over, or Fearless. One of those is the last one. And I thought, what is it? I Can't Live Without You was pretty good. That to me should have been the closing song. And
we'll talk about that.
I'll tell you the ones we'll take out here in a little bit, but but I think I Can't Live Without You should have been the closer. Left it at that because you started off strong with Holy Water, and then so those are my favorites. If you needed somebody, Walk Through Fire, Holy Water, Stranger Stranger, Lay Your Love on Me was not too bad. Those were some of my favorite songs. So I really thought that the beginning of this album was just kicking it.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I started with Holy Water because it was, that's kind of it, you need to grab me quick when I'm already kind of like it's like a kid you're trying to force broccoli down their throat, and I'm like, oh, come on, no, not 80s 90s Bad Company. Then I hear Holy Water, I'm like, okay, this broccoli's not so bad. I can feel this broccoli, and it just kind of felt to me like a Def Leppard song. I had that Def Leppard vibe, and I love Def Leppard. Like I love Pyromaniac and all the Def Leppard albums. So when you hit those Def Leppard vibes, that is not an insult. That's me. Like, okay, I'm feeling this, and my notes in the thing were okay. Honestly, much better than I expected. Because like I said, I was kid at the table. You can't get up till you eat your vegetables, guy. And I was like, all right, these vegetables are decent. I'm not gonna just be spitting them on the table. It's pretty all right. So Stranger Stranger, I like that one as well. It has I said, it's those fist in the air metal vibes. It's rocky, it's slinky. I imagine some big-haired woman writhing around on a car in the video. And fifth grade me would have been feeling this one, and I would have had this cassette sitting next to my Motley Crue and Def Leppard cassette. So I'm like, all right, this cassette would have been in there, even though it's, we need a time machine to make these times all align. But it would have been in there. It would have been like, okay, this fits right in. I imagine the video, the wasted opportunity. They needed some more car writhing, but what did they do? I don't know. I don't want to find out. It's probably awful if they did make a video, but they could have. And in my mind, I saw the video when I was listening to it. And this one is one I do need to buy the vinyl. I didn't. Thank you, Godspeed You Black Emperor, for their generic albums with no words on them besides A, B, C, and D. Anytime I haven't bought the album, it'll be Godspeed that we see popped on the turntable, because They made it nice and generic and easy for me. So
Yeah,
this one,
the
because I
album-
got to keep it for the collection of the first impressions.
like you
Minus-
said, the current album right now from the original album is anywhere from $80 to $150, depending on where you're looking for it, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing a re-release like soon, like this week or next. Like real soon, they're doing a re-release of this, so it'll be in the $30 to $35 range. It's a blue. It's molded in blue, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But
the original 180 gram as well.
Yeah, and the original album is anywhere from like I said, 80 to 120, 130. I saw it all the way up to $200 on some place. So if you're wanting to get the original vinyl, if you're wanting to get the original vinyl, you're going to pay some money.
Yeah, there's no way I'm dropping $100 for any album we pick on this show because we don't know if we're going to like them or not. But knowing that it's coming, that just means that, okay, I'll wait it out. I'll pick it up when it gets to regular priced vinyl. And then, I can have it for the collection, which will be -1. Because, of course, Taylor Swift, next time I see Uncle Swifty, if I don't give it to him, he's going to riot. I know. So it's like, all right, I must make sure he's walking away with the Taylor Swift and In Through the Outdoor by Led Zeppelin. You can have that one too, because I don't need to hear that one again. But let's see. What other ones did I pick? I think those were the main ones that I picked as far as songs that stood out. There were plenty that were fine. And it's just, it was hard because they kind of have a flow and it was hard to pick one particular song out, but those two stood out to me. So let's talk about what is next. And that is best lyrics. The hardest category for me, I'll be honest.
Man, I'm going to start Walk Through Fire. Looking back on those summer nights, I was wasting time fooling around, and there was nothing here to make me stay. Oh, but that night I met you. The night you came through made me realize there's no way I could leave. You made me believe, and now when I look in your eyes, I could walk through fire. This is a guy who's in love, man. He is in love with this woman, and I love. I always like it when you got a great song that tells your feelings, and this is not this ain't a Taylor Swift I'm gonna diss you track. This is he loves this woman, and I love that song. I just thought just a great connection in that song. Again, like I said, this was bringing me back to my high school days, and we all in high school, we all had that one love that just we felt the same way about this song. And then I also liked like you said, Stranger, and that you couldn't have said it any better with describing if there was a video, if they made a video. But Stranger, you're not the girl I knew. Will you ever be the same? You act like a stranger. Tell me it ain't true. Won't you please explain why you're so strange? It's not like he's insulted. It's just, why is, maybe they're not feeling the same affection, or why are you different than the other girls? And so that's the vibe I got from it.
Yeah.
I've been, I just thought Stranger was a real good song. And then, if you needed somebody, I that entire song from start to finish, could have told you by now, but I can't find the words. I mean, that just starts off perfect. So those are my favorite lyrics from the album.
I had a hard time. I read through the lyrics multiple times, and it was hard for me to find lyrics because this album's about as deep as a puddle in a slip and slide. And it's like, all right, you're in love. We get it. Metaphors, man. Metaphors. Yeah. But I found one. I got excited. When we got Fearless, I was like, me, I'm always hunting. So I was like having a Beavis and Butthead episode play out in my mind, because it was like, yes, a horny song. Be like, yeah.
Fearless is pretty good, yeah.
And then like that fearless chick would kick his ass. So
yeah.
So yeah, when he was a fearless, fearless, dancing on the tables, fearless, fearless, tearing up the floor, fearless, fearless. The girl is such a rebel. She's so hot, I can't take anymore. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
Bad Company, bring in the horny vibes. That's what I need. I mean, the lyrics are as shallow as the whole album is,
Yeah.
but at least is like, all right, good stuff. I always have to seek it out, and that was what I got for my lyrics. That was it. I was searching, and I was like, that was the only one. I was like, all right, it's about time. The Beavis and Butthead bit. Now that is for that video. You got like Meg Ryan on a pool table. She's flipping her hair around, and Beavis and Butthead are watching it on their TV, and they're like, yes, that chick kicks ass.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah,
that's a great one. That's yeah.
So yeah,
that's a new scale. That's a new scale. The Beavis and that's a new scale.
Would Beavis and Butthead enjoy the song? So yeah, I just as I was listening to that song, you know, the Beavis and Butthead started to play in my head, and there it was. I imagine them watching the Meg Ryan video as she's flipping her hair around on a pool table, and Blurry Alan Rickman is there drinking a beer and watching her.
Yes.
We got to bring him in. He's back. So
Blurry Alan Rickman.
Blurry Alan Rickman sitting at the bar watching Meg Ryan flip around, and yeah, they're just checking out how hot she is because it's fantastic. You know, it's not deep, but that's okay. This album's not deep. We've established that. He loves her. He's infatuated with her. That's about as deep as we get. But that's okay. It doesn't. Not every album has to be deep. Not every album needs to be like, ooh, not every album is going to get submitted to college to decipher the lyrics. We've talked about those ones that deserve it. This one does not. This one would be like, let my third graders decipher it. And they'll figure it out.
If you really think about it, a lot of the 80s weren't deep. I think it was just poppy, upbeat, just trying to get you in the mood. So a lot of the 80s were, you had 60s and 70s that were deep because they were really all about lyric wise and telling stories.
Yeah,
the 80s just brought us a bunch of pop, but don't get me wrong, I love the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. And you don't get really back to the storytelling until later in the 90s again, where
when kind of folk revival and things like that. So yeah, with the 80s, it definitely times got more shallow, because last week we were talking about one of the most lyrically deep albums that you'd ever hear when we're talking about Marvin Gaye. This is not Marvin Gaye. So it's like, don't mistake. If you get this album, you're going for the vibes. It is a just vibes kind of album. Like, all right, let me bob. Let me enjoy it for what it is. I'm not going to let me decipher these lyrics, and these are going to be timeless. There's no timeless lyrics that are written in this song unless Beavis and Butthead are on the couch listening to one of the songs. And I'm writing all the videos in my head, because once you've seen those 80s videos, writhing on cars is just the thing. It's like, all right, the whole White Snake of it all. So yeah, this would fit right in that era with that band. So now
I'm on a 3-show streak of crying from laughing at stuff. So that's a 3-show streak if anybody's keeping score.
Yeah.
The Meg Ryan did it. The Meg Ryan and Fuzzy Alan Rickman. I love it.
Yeah, see, we got to try to find a way to bring Blurry Alan Rickman to every episode. Sometimes it won't be appropriate, and yeah, when we have a band on the show, I'm not going to try to bring Blurry Alan Rickman. Like, all right, what the hell's he even talking about? But now we move into skip this one. So, any songs you're going to name as skipping songs?
Oh yeah, I let me get my. Like I said, there was the 3 songs that need to come off this to make it a shorter album. Boys Cry Tough. I didn't feel anything from that song. It was a little just off-putting. I think it just didn't need to be on there. I Don't Care, and then 100 Miles. Those were really my 3. Or not. I Don't Care. Never. Or what was it? Dead of Night. I didn't care for Dead of Night. Not I Don't Care. Dead of Night, 100 Miles, and Boys Cry Tough. 100 Miles, that was the end song, ladies and gentlemen. 100 Miles was like 4 words long. Like literally 4 words. And it'd say the words and then bump, bump, bump. That should not have closed the album. In my I'm going to walk 100 miles for you. No, just take it off and leave it alone. That leave it with I Can't Live Without You. Make that the end song. But yeah, and what I mean by skip, I'm talking about cut them off the album. Skip. Don't even. I mean, I don't even. I wish they weren't even on the album. That's
an easy skip at least. And what I wrote when my notes for 100 Miles, because I'm in the same boat as you are on that one. I said it felt like it's one of those hidden tracks. It didn't feel like a real album track. It felt like kind of like My Chemical Romance with the blood. All right, it's at the very end of the album. You can laugh at it for what it is because it's not an actual album track. The fact that was an album track is really surprising because it's kind of, if you haven't heard it, it's this acoustic number. I don't know if it's even the same singer, honestly, but it doesn't sound like the same singer. It's almost like, All by Myself on the Green Day Dookie album. It's hidden in the back. That's where this one belongs. And I wrote my notes as well. I thought we were gonna make it through this album without one of these singers calling their love a little girl, but Bad Company, you have failed the test. You had to wait till the last horrible song, and then you start little girling that shit. I'm like, come on, they're grown women, you freaking weird perverts.
I could just picture the entire band sitting over and just like, yes, we did it. It's a great album. And there's Bill over in the background with his acoustic guitar going, I'm going to add this song to it. That is what I feel.
You guys promised me a song. You fuckers, let me play. It's like, shut up, Bill. Here you go. You get the last track.
You did arrive at the right time, Ray. You arrived at the right time.
Yeah, you showed up for the skip this song section. So this is where the venom comes. We were nice before. Now here it comes. So yeah, Little Girl. It's just wrong, and it's one of those things where it's so common. 80s, 90s, like especially 80s. I think it kind of ended in the 90s when grunge broke. Yeah. You don't get Kurt Cobain's not calling his love a little girl. It's like you got a little more respect for women. The 80s were not a great time for respect for women, and you hear it in the music. It's like everything's babe. Like this whole album has friggin' babe vibes. Like you call every woman you date babe. Like, what up, babe? And then, babe, I need you back. Like, it just had such babe vibes as I was listening to it.
So maybe we should not listen to Styx, the song "Babe" by Styx, because that's literally exactly what it is.
All the babe vibes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The 80s and their babe vibes. This album right in there. And then they had to close it out with a god awful acoustic song where he brings Little Girl in. And why? Bad Company. You almost made it. You almost made it. You had to let that asshole with his acoustic guitar record his song. Maybe they promised
Bill.
It to him. It's like, Bill, shut up. No one asked you. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of the Beavis and Butthead of that version. But yes. Let's see. Any other skip ones for you? You said your skip ones. I can go into mine because I got more notes. Yours. All right. So I absolutely had Boys Cry Tough on my skip list. I hate Bobby. It's this whole song about Bobby, this pissy little guy who likes to get in fights, who gets stabbed, and wow, poor Bobby. You fucking asshole.
Bobby, stay home. Stay home, Bobby.
You have a woman who loves you at home. You probably call her babe because that's how it rolls back then. And you left her alone, and she's better off. I mean, after she gets over your dumbass, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, that guy was an ass." I'm kind of glad because Bobby's the kind of guy who walks into restaurants and wants to fight people. Like, what? You looking at me? You looking at me? Like, Bobby, you suck. You deserve to die because you had to walk into the bar being tough guy, and your girlfriend is better off. And it also features the 80s wuss chord, that as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, you just lost me. Yeah. The 80s wuss chord just rings in the fact that this song is going to suck. And then it lived up to the promise of the 80s wuss chord the whole way through.
Yeah.
So, yes. So yeah, it was.
But oh yeah. It's not sexy. It's creepy. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah, and that song lives up to it. So. Ray, welcome, Ray. Thank you. We needed this. All right, so that's one of mine. 100 Miles. We've already established. It sucks. Yeah. It's creepy. And then, when we got Walk Through Fire, my note on that one was Bryan Adams called and he wants his song back.
See, that's why I liked it. That's why I liked
It's
it.
so Bryan Adams. It's like, come on, guys.
I know. That's why I liked it. I think it's probably because it did have it definitely had Bryan Adams vibes, but I think that's why I liked it so much for me.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not a bad song. I wouldn't have said to skip it, but it was just as soon as it started playing, it's just like, wow, Bryan Adams should sue you. This is one of those ones we're gonna see a Watch Mojo of, and like Bryan Adams just won a out of court lawsuit from Bad Company for basically they stole his entire vibe, but that's okay. I mean, it's still not a terrible song, but
for sure,
it's definitely Bryan Adams. It gives Babe vibes like the whole album does, but it's tolerable. I'm not gonna
put that last comment up. Put that last comment.
Sorry, I'll go into my notes here. So let's see. I'm not dogging Bryan Adams. Bryan Adams is fine, but they stole the song from him. If you hear this song, you'd be like, that's Bryan Adams, and Bryan Adams wants his song back. I wasn't insulting Bryan Adams. I just said Bryan Adams called and he wants his song back. Bryan Adams, Summer 69, that's the jam all time. I will not disparage that jam. So
that is when someone says something disparaging, that's what dog means. Don't disparage.
Yes. So don't dog Bryan Adams. I will not dog Bryan Adams. Like I said, Summer 69 is a jam. I will forever enjoy that song. He has other ones. I mean, he's fine.
Don't take this wrong, Ray, but Bryan Adams is the greatest Canadian ever.
Oh, damn. Shots fired.
You're second best, Ray.
Yes.
Bryan Adams.
And what about Chuck, dude? Chuck's not going to have that.
Chuck,
he's watching this.
Chuck's in there too. I forgot about Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck's on the list. So Chuck has to make it. We have our Canadians we love. Yes. And I don't know. I don't think any of our Rock and Roll Asshole Hall of Fame is from Canada. So,
not yet.
Yeah, you can be happy. None of them have made it. We only have 4 so far, but more to come.
Chris Jericho might make that list.
Yeah, he can be on our list. So we haven't got there. So I also had Lay Your Hands on Me. This was like the least blues song that's ever been created. So I've made new genre. We had swamp blues. That's when that shit is real. Yeah. This is Beverly Hills blues when it's not real. It's not like swamp blues. It's going to be pumping out of some sanitary, overly clean club with a bunch of Gucci clutching women who are going to sway politely to the well-dressed white gentleman on the stage who listened to B.B. King one time in a restaurant they were eating in. And when he said, I've got the blues in my soul, I'm like, do you really? No, you don't. You think you know what blues are, but that's because you overheard it one time at Lucille's when you were eating there and B.B. King was playing. So yeah, it was rough. So all right, let's see.
Michael J. Fox,
Michael J. Fox, the best Canadian. No, it's still Ray and Chuck. Michael J. Fox could be like number 3. I mean, he is Marty McFly, he is Michael P. Keaton, but Ray is friggin' Ray. So we can't disparage that.
Ray is freaking Ray. No,
Justin Bieber
for life, yo.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so
if I hadn't cried earlier with Beavis and Butthead, Blurry Alan Rickman, and Meg Ryan, this was where it got me. Justin Bieber. Oh my God. Justin Bieber.
Oh, that's funny. So Justin Bieber trumps you all. Sorry. So, but that's according to Ray, who's a Canadian, and we have to listen to a Canadian's ranking. So yes, Beverly Hills Blues. There's a couple of those Beverly Hills Blues songs, I mean it. And then just the end, the last 3 songs could just disappear from the album, and no one would be sad. It's just it doesn't end strong. That's what we can say. Because what is it? Let me go through and see what are the 3 enders we got.
Dead of Night,
Never Too Late, Dead of Night, Dead of Night, I Can't Live Without You, in 100 Miles, and I guess we can throw in Boys Cry Tough because that one is it's just so bad.
It's just bad.
It's trying to be like 18 in Life or something like
Thank
that.
you.
To tell a profound little story, and then it's just the protagonist is an asshole. No one feels for him. Like, good. If he didn't get stabbed, he was gonna go get in. Like, I would just be trying to get in my car, and he'd think I was following too close, and he'd be knocking on my window. I've met Bobby. I
Bobby
don't
and
like him.
Bobby and Ricky need to stay in jail. Bobby and
Yeah.
Ricky, Ricky from 18 in Life, Bobby from Boys Cry Tough. They just need to stay in jail and stay
He's
there.
dead. We don't even care about. We
Yeah.
don't care about Bobby anymore. He's dead. His girlfriend's better off. She'll realize
Yeah,
it one
way better.
day. Because he's given like I'm gonna slap my girl vibes with his whole like he needed to prove himself and him and the boys. It's like, oh, him and the boys. His girlfriend had to make them food and serve them beer, and she's way better off without any one of them. And yeah, Ricky and Bobby, we don't like them. So yes,
We don't
Boys
like
Cry
Ricky
Tough.
We don't like Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, except Ricky Bobby's all right. Ricky and Bobby separated, no. So yeah, he got stabbed. It was good. We're happy because he's not real. So if he is real, then he still was an asshole, and his girlfriend's still better off. But my condolences to anyone who misses him. No one. But let's hope this wasn't a real true life story about some dickhead that he knew. Yep. But it gives off like they were trying to make their 18 in Life song. They wanted their own version, and this is what they came up with, and it remains as shallow as a puddle. So yeah, they try to get deep, and the shallowness continues.
I'd almost bet my just one Starbucks card that's exactly the true story right there. That they tried to copy 18 in Life.
Yeah, feels about right. All right, so let's hit this next one where we're gonna keep this or return it to the used bin. So what are you gonna do with this one? I think I know, but
this is definitely on a scale of our illustrious Kate Bush. This is a 2 on the Kate Bush scale for me, so I'm going to keep it. It's definitely a great album for reminiscing. Again, if you're in that 80s vibe and you want to reminisce about some 80s, throw this album on and enjoy it. I love Bad Company, so I think Uncle Swifty said earlier that he must have been drunk or under the influence or something, and he doesn't remember Bad Company nor like them. I'm the opposite. I love Bad Company, under the influence or not. I love Bad Company, and so they have a special place on my shelf, anyways. So they're going to, and I'm biased, so you ladies and gentlemen can probably see that I'm biased, but I do give credit and I do give criticism where criticism definitely needs to be done. Boys Cry Tough, I'm talking to you. And 100 Miles, I'm talking to you. But yeah, I give it 2 Kate Bushes. I thought this was a good album. It was fun to, like I said, bop your head to. So I'm going to keep it.
It works for what it is. So that's why I'll keep it as well. I'm not throwing it to the used bin. Lori, you may not have this one. It's not for you. You can't destroy it. So Lori cannot slice and dice this album. But yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it is. I enjoyed it. It's definitely, if I bought the vinyl, and I'll wait till it's affordable, because like I said, even a band I love, I'm not dropping $100 on unless you give me like a first pressing of a early Bob Marley album or something. Yeah, that I'll spend the money on, but not a late Bad Company pressing that's about to get a reissue. So yeah, I'll keep it. It'll be added to the collection of the shelf that has all the first impressions ones on it once it comes out and it hits affordable. So yeah, I'll keep it. It is harmless for what it is. Like I said, it feels like I would have owned it on a cassette back in the day, and it would have fit right in with all those other ones, because it definitely gives big Def Leppard vibes, and I was a huge Def Leppard fan when they were at kind of at their peak in the early to mid 80s. So yeah, I mean, Def Leppard vibes is a positive thing. And if it was on vinyl, it would be very easy to get up and skip and just not play that whole last 3 or 4 songs. It's okay. I don't have to play the needle game. I will just remove this entire play, because I'm imagining that this would be a much stronger side A than a side B, because it is a front-loaded kind of album. All right, so
it is definitely front-loaded.
Let's talk about next week. We are hitting a huge stretch of requests. Pops has been asking for this one for a long while, and we are finally ready to oblige. So next week, we are going to be looking at Elf, which, if you don't know who Elf is, I didn't. Pops told me. It is the first album from Ronnie James Dio. So before he went with Black Sabbath, he was recording under Elf. I've heard nothing of this. I mean, we'll talk about my history with Ronnie James Dio when we cover it next week. But yeah, Pops has been asking. We are here to give that request, and we're going to be joined by John Westhoff. So John will be joining us. So yeah, that picture says it all. We'll see if the picture lives up to the album. But yeah, it's quite an album cover. I just found one on eBay. This was another one that was pretty hard.
Yeah, I found it
find. And I was able to find one. I think it was for like $25 on eBay. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of the new album price. Decent. I'm hoping it's not a skipping god awful kind of thing. So you must answer him these questions 3.
Yes.
So yes, Dio, may I cross this bridge? Not until you've answered these questions 3. So yes, Rainbow. This is pre-Rainbow. This was recorded in 73, I think. So it's
73.
Before Rainbow in the Dark, before any of the Black Sabbath stuff.
No. 72. 72. January 1st, 1972.
Yeah. So yeah. You love making the faces and sending them to people. So you've given the Dio face to somebody out there, or the Elf face. I don't know if that's actually Dio, but yeah, 72. So this is very early Ronnie James Dio. One of the song titles, I looked at them already. I already don't like it because of it. So yes, Ray, it's happened again. Why does the world hate me? All right, but yes,
my wheelhouse, the 70s.
Yeah, so I'm looking and see we have Elf.
Coochie Coochie.
We have a lot of good stuff coming up. Even, so yeah, Dio is the lead singer for Rainbow. This is pre-Rainbow. My Dio knowledge is very, very small. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know that much. Yeah, the band Rainbow, and 70s. It's what I love. We all know that I love this. 25 good things. Will Dio make the list? Or did Dash just set me up for failure? Did Dash, not Dash, did Pops, this isn't Dash, did Pops want to torture me? And will he get angry if I don't like it? Find out next week. We will tune in. But we'll see. Because I've never heard a note from this album. So we will discover it next week with John, who writes a story featuring, Black Sabbath as one of the main plot points. So this one should be good. So Richie Blackmore, that's someone, I'm sure. I don't know who, but I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah, so, that's Rainbow. This is pre-Rainbow. This is the one that I've got is 1975 for Rainbow. And then so yep.
So yes, so Ray, in my defense, I mean, I throw a lot of hate at the 70s. Don't get me wrong, but I did we did Stevie Wonder. There was no hate generated toward that album. That was in the 70s, and we did Marvin Gaye. That was 1970. So that's on the brink of being like a 60s album, and tonally, just kind of like. Technically, the album we covered today is a 90s album, but it's an 80s album. Yeah, you could say the same 80s. With what's going on. Technically, it's a 70s album, but really it's a 60s album. It's protest rock. It's it's definitely calling for that social change, and that's what the 60s stuff was all about. 70s then got into that. That's when Babe rock started to come out, and everyone's Babe, and then it was little girl rock of the 80s, and but. We'll see. We'll see if this Dio album is 270s for me.
You didn't get real 90s until end of 91-ish.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the 90. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely.
Once you that's where you get Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Sonic Youth actually coming more to the forefront. Because Sonic Youth was doing their thing in the 80s, but no one.
They were, 86, 87? I think that were early or mid 80s to.
Yeah, so they were.
Yeah, I like Sonic Youth, but they just
and then I think Daydream Nation was 89, so technically Daydream Nation is an 80s album. It doesn't fit in the 80s. But my April had a 80s party, and we were picking only 80 songs to play, and I was able to sneak Sonic Youth in because technically
Agreed,
80s
Ray.
song. So yes. So let's see. So we need 2 years to establish the new decade. Yeah, I'd say
Absolutely.
So, the first stuff that comes out is very of the previous era. So yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna have to listen to a Yacht Rock album, and you're going to enjoy my suffering. No, we've already established you're barred from making picks. That doesn't mean the rest of the audience is, but
no, Miss Davis,
out.
we're getting some Yacht Rock. I will get Yacht Rock in. I will get some Yacht Rock in.
Oh, Ray likes to torture me, so he might be the one that picks it. Ray's like, what can I pick for my thing? Because Ray just likes to lose my shit, and that's okay. I mean, if I can entertain Ray, at least I'm entertaining somebody. So hey, it's a win. So all right, we talked about next week. We have a great slot coming up. Our next 8 albums, we have at least 2 where we're going to have interactions with the band. We have 1 where I'm going to wear an absurdly ridiculous hat. It's going to be fun. So, see what you don't know. Yeah, you already made your pick, Uncle Swifty. You are now henceforth barred. No Barry Manilow will be done, because if I shit on Barry Manilow, I will sleep on the couch. That's my wife's jam. I like my bed. I want to stay in it. So we will not do Barry Manilow for the sake of my marriage.
The Copacabana, the hottest spot north of Havana. Okay, sorry.
So Ray, you have to have a hit to get a greatest hits album. So yeah, and there one like Yoko Ono. Fun fact: she has this song. What the hell is that? Oh, it's called Warzone, and she screams, Warzone. "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" And we use that to wake our kids up on Christmas morning. So Warzone, actually no, reverse it. Warzone is what our children use to wake us up in the mornings when they wanted to torture us on Christmas. We would get woke up to screaming Yoko Ono in her Warzone song.
All I can remember of Yoko Ono is when Chuck Berry and John Lennon are singing, and she starts screaming, and you just see Chuck Berry's face.
Like, what the hell is that woman doing right now?
What is she doing?
Yeah, if you listen to the So This Is Christmas, you hear her like her screeching in the background. It's just like, man, now you know why she broke the Beatles up, because they probably wanted her on Beatles songs. Just like man, it could have been bad.
They cut her
mic. And then they cut her mic.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. That is one of the greatest videos that's ever been recorded. So yes, I agree. So now we know what we're doing next week. We have a great slate of stuff coming out over the next couple of weeks, next 8 weeks. Hopefully 3 different bands will be joining us on the show. No, nice. Like I said, I cannot shit on on the dude you love, because I don't like the couch. So see, she should duet. She should duet with early Kate Bush. They would fit.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the album that will break us both. We'll just mumble into the mic. It'll be an hour of us mumbling drooling, like, oh, Dash and Ed are broken. It's over for them. All right. So,
yeah.
Oh man. Ray, welcome to the show. You just need to come in, like be our third for the whole thing. Because yeah, we got some crazy stuff coming up, but I don't think we have anything that will break me. But I don't know. This Elf cover scares me. I'm scared on many levels by this cover, and I don't know. Pops, it's your fault.
It's gonna be. That's gonna be. Normally, when I say this, normally when there's some like wild covers, I've always felt that there's been really good music to it. It's when we get rickrolled by the covers, where we think it looks good and it turns out to be a really bad album. So.
Oh man, she's fighting. I might be sleeping on the couch if we don't do Barry Manilow. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
yeah,
I'm down for Barry Manilow. So
see, and I think I know. Like, actually, no, I've seen him in concert twice. So that's see, I'm a dutiful and loving husband.
You are dutiful.
Taking her wife, because my wife She never went and saw Sonic Youth with me. No. So what's going on? I cry foul. So yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So
I can't anymore. I can't.
Yes,
Why,
Ray.
you make me cry. You make me cry. I can't.
Ray, you're the best. All right. So I know dinner is about to be calling me. So with that said, we are going to play our sponsors because these people are the best. They are sponsoring this show. They help keep the Madness Comic Network going, and we love them for it. So now what we will do is play a few ads, and then next week you can discover once and for all what is up with that Elf album, and is it worthy of the cover? So yeah, that the troll taking a shit is, that this is, there you go. Thank you, Ray. You have won the comment section of the day. So sorry, Uncle Swifty. You tried, but no, Ray is the winner. So, all right. And yeah, my wife understands that comment was too good to not be the winner. So Ray, congratulations. You win. And what do you win? I don't know, because Dash already won coffee. I don't know what you win. But we'll figure something out. Whoever wins the comment of the day, we'll give them some prize. Kate Bush's album. I'll send it to you. You can have that.
There you go. Kate Bush.
Yoko
Ono's greatest hits.
Yeah, we'll buy it for you. We'll send it to you via Amazon. Congratulations. When you win, you lose. All right. So with that said, let's check out our first spot. Let me get this on here. And that is our first sponsor. All right. So check it out. You know the link. You've seen it every week. Don't hesitate. Get in there and buy something. And just got confirmation while the ad was running. We have another band that will be joining us live in July. So it's good. They're small, but nice. One of the reasons I started this show to begin with is so we can showcase the little bands that deserve it. Because just like indie comics, indie bands are making the best shit out there. Fuck the radio. We're going to showcase the good stuff. All right. So next sponsor ad. It's Fish. Fish is the man. We will watch the Fish ad, and hopefully over the next few episodes, we're going to try to get Fish in here for one of our episodes because, as I said, Fish is the man.
Beyond the world we know is a place where reality bends and time stands still. A place where legends, fairy tales, and nightmares are real. A world where legends are born and destinies collide. Alice has spent her life lost in an interdimensional rift known as Wonderland, and it forged her into a deadly bounty hunter. With her ancient clockwork guardian Big Tin by her side, they hunt the things that stalk the shadows of Wonderland. Alice Lost in Wonderland, issues 1 and 2 launch May 6 on Kickstarter. Follow along at GoMrFish.com.
Head over there. He is live right now on Kickstarter, so definitely back it while you can.
Yep.
Let's get Fish funded. He makes great books. He has great art, and he is the best. So yes, you will need to get on that. And let's check out our next sponsor ad, and that is Chris Brown. Let's check it out. All right, and that is live right now as well. I
Yeah,
believe. So check it out. I got to back that.
I think it just ended. If it's
well,
the
I'm
board,
sure they
it's
have
the
late
card
pledges.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have late
Yeah,
pledges. So hey Grant, how's it going? Yeah, Bad Company, Holy Water, picked because Dash wanted to kind of let me be exposed to this because he is, if you watched earlier, he is someone who loves the 80s content of Bad Company. I didn't know that they had 80s content, so it was kind of fun to explore. So yeah, Grant, just so you know, your album is going to be on our upcoming list. I believe it'll be either the 18th of June or the 2nd of July. It all just depends because we're trying to arrange a band that actually, I was just saying earlier, just confirmed to come on the show. And I don't know if we're going to have it live or pre-recorded, but they're going to do a conversation with me via this so we can actually see them. And yeah, I hold it out because we don't announce too early, but we will start dropping those bands that we're going to have on because it's amazing to get bands willing to come on and join us. So yeah, I will send you a DM and let you know the date, and you are free to join us on that day, even if you know the album, so you can kind of tell us why you picked it and what makes it important, because we have one coming up. Someone loves the album and picked it, but he's going to come on the show and tell us why he loves it while we explore it for the first time. So yeah, I will DM you. We'd love to get you on here. Be aware, sometimes I'm not nice, so I'll try to be nice, but I make no promises. So yeah, I mean, if you've watched enough, you know I definitely make no promises. All right, so let's watch our final sponsor, and then we will wrap it up for today.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
All right, check it out. Check out all our sponsors, especially those with live Kickstarters right now. I know that's Fish, so get on there. As far as the other card game, if it's closed, I'm sure they have late pledges. That's something everyone's doing on Facebook. So until then, we will see you next week. I will not be doing a Saturday show this week because I have work and I'll go get paid. But we will be back next week with our boy. Our boy right here. I got to bring the comment back because it was too good not to be seen again. He won the comment section and a free copy of the Yoko Ono Greatest Hits. So there he is, our guy. Surprise photo of a cave troll mid shit. Health. Let's hope the music's better than the cover. But if not, have some fun with it. And then Pops will be angry at me because he's been asking. And
Pops, this one's for you, buddy.
Pops, it's for you. We finally have your album coming. It shall be fun, if nothing else, because love it or hate it, we'll have a good time. And we'll see if we can get Dash to cry for another week. So can we get one more week of crying? So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a suggestion, drop it in the comments. We are honoring all those suggestions. We are going through those. The only thing that will bump your suggestion out is if we have a band willing to come on with us, but it will get done. All the ones on there, we're building our list. We're going to be building it all the way through the summer. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you same place, same time next week.
Yeah, bye.
Tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe.